Welcome to Ohm the Resistance Radio. I'm your host, Harvey Dent. Before we get started, why don't you go ahead and click the subscribe button and the bell to be notified when I upload again, because you never know what the hell I'm going to upload about. Now, I would like to introduce you all to my great-grandfather, the free, black, land-owning Confederate soldier. That's right. I don't know how many oxymorons or contradictions in a term you can have, but history should tell you that there could be no such thing as a free, black, landowning Confederate soldier. But my history will prove that there was. You see, recently I decided to jump in on the search for my family's history, a path that my aunts and a cousin had previously embarked on, but due to a mystical fire in a courthouse that burned all the records, they hit a wall and were not able to progress any further than like my great-grandfather. You must understand that I have two very different sides of a family. One that is from Ohio and Pennsylvania and mainly Caucasian or white, and the other that is very, let's just say, ethnic, with origins in the South, Mississippi mostly. And considering my history of acquiring information and being able to interpret it, I was anxious to get started on this mission. Zipped right through 2 to 3 generations. I mean, the information was readily available because everyone is documented with births. But around the mid-1800s, information starts to get a little scarce. Information just is not there, or has, for some reason or another, been destroyed. Well, I focused on Orange Augustus Brunt, who just happens to be my great-grandfather. That's his wife, Thursday Nance. My family hails from Panola County, Mississippi. Orange Augustus Brunt just happened to be elected to office for Panola County back in 1874 and 75. One of the first, if not the first, black state legislator. Now, they have this story of, against all odds, the first black legislators and how they were born free in the North and came to help their brothers in the South who were enslaved, that were now here to fight for democracy. Well, Orange Augustus Brunt was a Republican, and he was born in Mississippi, his father Tennessee, which just goes to show the victors always write the history. Old Grandpa Orange was an elected official by the people in his county. He basically represented his county. This was his wife. They had a number of children. So if racial tensions down in Mississippi were so terrible that the federal government had to intervene, then how could a man that black be with a woman that white and still be elected to office? I had an idea that Orange Augustus's father was educated because Orange Augustus was educated. I wanted to find out more about my great-great-great-grandfather, William T. Brunt, but due to a convenient courthouse fire, many property records were destroyed, which seems to be the case everywhere indigenous people were moved off the land to make way for the new landowners. I figured I would take a look at the Bureau of Land Management's database to see if I could find anything, and lo and behold, there was a record for William T. Brunt, Orange Augustus's father, who had taken advantage of the Choctaw land that the U.S. had taken and was divvying up for anyone that was buying, including free black Southern men. The only problem was I couldn't find a picture of William or Bill Brunt to save my life. How would I be able to prove that he was black? Well, I found a breadcrumb. He was a member of the 38th Regiment Cavalry during the Civil War. See his name right there? WMT Brunt. Private, entered as a private, left as a private. That's all fine and dandy, but how could that be so? The Mississippi Regiment was a Confederate. They were part of the Confederacy. William T. Brunt was a member of the Confederacy. It still doesn't give me the fact that I need, that he is definitely a non-white. Just a little more time researching and another miracle breadcrumb. Looks like the 38th, 39th, 40th, and 41st regiments from Mississippi were all quote-unquote colored or black. I had proven that my great-great-great-grandfather was a free black landowning, voluntary Confederate soldier that joined the Confederacy 2 years after purchasing that land patent. I think his actions, as well as his education of his son, points to his knowledge of what was transpiring with the land in the area and making sure that he secured himself a piece of it. So if the Emancipation Proclamation and the Civil War were to free the slaves, why were free black landowning men fighting with the Confederacy? Let's just say that before those people showed up with their land surveyors, their lawyers, and their title and deed writers, the people of the area knew nothing of land ownership. They only knew to use the land. So when the Choctaw land was divvied up to these new buyers, they didn't even have to worry about working the land. They just offered the families that were living on it to continue farming the land for free stay on the land. And of course, they were more than happy to accept that. In fact, they were so grateful to these owners that some of them would even take their last name, because most people down there had no surnames. There was no documentation of names. Stumbling upon these facts answered so many questions for me, especially with respect to the South pre-Civil War. It also answered so many questions I had about myself and why I am the way I am. It seems that my ancestors too saw the threat that was coming and did everything they could to try and stop it, whether it was before the federal government had taken control and enlisting to wage war against them, or after the Union had taken control and training your son to become a politician, to battle the scoundrels sitting in federal government offices that are now on land that used to be everyone's. This is the history they won't tell you. This is the history they definitely won't teach you. It's the history they don't want you to know. But it is the truth. The people of color were more free in the South before the Civil War and the Emancipation Proclamation than any time after they were introduced to a system of democracy and its fraudulent ways. Thank you for your time. Please click the like button. And until you find your truth, keep looking.